One of the biggest causes of anxiety when it comes to public speaking is lack of knowledge. As I've said in previous videos, confidence really comes down to certainty. So it makes sense that if you have a little bit more knowledge, you will then be a bit more confident. Now, the greatest speeches incite change. Now, this can be a change in mindset, or it can be complete change. It can be a challenge for people to go out and do things completely differently. But all good speeches incite change in some way. When it comes to preparing your speech, one of the most important things is to think about who your audience are. Now, sometimes you won't know who they are. And this is when you have to remember to ask lots of questions. When I start a workshop, one of the first things I do is ask everyone present a few questions. Because I need to know where they're at. I need to know what levels they are, how they feel about things. And then I'll know exactly how I need to tailor my presentation or my training. And you can actually start a presentation with a direct question. You can say, raise your hand if you like public speaking, for instance. And as you do so, you just raise your hand as well. And then everyone seems to become a lot more engaged. It's interesting because if you try this with me, raise your hand if you like public speaking. Somehow, it is more engaging, isn't it? Just the fact that you're doing something, you're getting involved, rather than thinking one of those 15,000 thoughts that we have each day. Did you know that everyone has roughly, on average, 15,000 thoughts each day? And most of those are the same thoughts that you had yesterday. So in order to go against this, in order to counter all these thoughts that people have and really keep people in the room listening to you, you need to keep them engaged. Now, public speaking is very different from acting. I spent 10 years performing as a child, doing drama exams and festivals and shows, and it's very different. Because an actor has what we call the fourth wall. And the fourth wall literally means there's no interaction between actor and audience. Whereas with public speaking, it's very, very different, because the more you interact, the more engaged your audience will become, the more valued that they'll feel, the more respected. So it's important to treat them as if they are intelligent and as if they are interested as well. It's important to treat them as though they're going to be interested in what you say. And the interesting thing is that when you direct your speech at your audience with their needs in mind, they will become interested, because they'll feel as though you are interested in them, which is really important. So it's very much similar to having a normal conversation. And that's a very important point to remember. There's very little difference between a face-to-face conversation and a presentation. The more you remember this and the more you apply this during your speech, the more interested and engaged your audience will be. And we don't need to limit it to direct questions such as raise your hand if. You can add rhetorical questions all the way through. I wonder whether anyone here is like me and loves public speaking. Now, that's just an example. You can use it in any way. I wonder whether, or I wonder if, is a very good form of asking rhetorical questions. But you can also just add a little question tag at the end. Don't you? Aren't you? Isn't it? Those kind of things. And that immediately perks everyone up and gains their interest again. Brings them back into the room, takes them away from all those thoughts that they're having. So that's one of the most profound things that you can do. Ask lots of questions and engage people. And at the very end of your speech, it's important to leave them with a powerful thought. And you can do this by asking a rhetorical question or by giving a quote. Now, these are just some of the things that you can do to make your presentations and speeches more engaging. I'll be coming back to you with plenty more tips in the future. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy asking lots of questions.